Day. Okay, well, the next stock on our radar is one that's come out with a pretty strong set of numbers. The company I'm talking about is Apollo Hospitals. Good show in the first quarter. Revenue and adjusted profits have come in above street estimates. Margins are more or less in line. The numbers in time were aided by consolidation of Apollo Gleneagles, the contribution from COVID 2.0, and of course the low base. Suneeta Reddy, Managing Director of Apollo Hospitals, is with us. Good morning, Ms. Reddy. Great to have you on the show. So pretty solid show. I mean, I'm not talking about the profit where the Gleneagles angle comes in, but even at the top line, you've really blown past estimates. Tell us how things stand right now, so far in the second quarter. How much business is COVID? How much is non-COVID?
So currently, if you look at the second quarter and our performance in the last quarter, we showed a consolidated growth of 31%. In this, 26% was COVID. So I believe the most important thing to focus on is that when we have COVID, the average ARPOB is at 21,700 rupees because, we really calibrate the ARPOB during that time so everyone can afford to use the Apollo facilities. Outside of COVID, our ARPOB is 41,000 rupees, and this is the important thing. As we move into July, we are seeing a significant decrease in COVID, and the rest of the work is ramping up, which I think is an important factor.
Okay, that's good to know. Ms. Reddy, good morning. This is Sonia here. You recently created that tech platform, Apollo Health Co. And I just wanted to understand, by when does the completion happen of the fundraising, A? B, what kind of plans do you have? Because even Apollo 24/7, now you're sitting on, I think, 10 million users as of now, as of Q1. How do you plan to grow it, given that this is really the space to be in? And how will all of that reflect into your own consolidated performance?
Yeah, definitely, 24/7 is something that we needed to grow Apollo Hospitals. Not only, the services that we currently provide, but moving closer to the consumer. So right now we do have 10 million active consumers. But most importantly, the pharmacy online is growing. If you look at total growth in pharmacy, it grew by 28%. And this was a combination of 4,150 stores plus the online presence. So it is growing the pharmacy online. And the second part of it is the fact that, that using 24/7, we're actually accelerating the diagnostics. And we've done over 6 lakh COVID tests during this time. And clearly this was enabled by the fact that, we were able to use 24/7. We're also using it for doctor consultations. And here again, we've had large volumes in excess of 4 lakh consultations. We are present in 440 cities using 24/7 and have 5,500 doctors online. So yes, there's a revenue model in 24/7 by which it generates its own revenue. It also acts as a funnel into Apollo Hospitals as well as Apollo Health and Lifestyle, as well as Apollo Pharmacy. So you have to view it from two perspectives.
Okay. I think, you had mentioned to us in previous interviews as well that as far as Apollo Health Co. is concerned, you're open to partnerships. Anything on the radar, and, to what extent could this be an equity partnership that you look at?
Yes, we are open. We are talking to a few people, both financial and strategic partners. We do believe that in the next 60 days, we will be able to announce this.
Okay, that's interesting. We'll watch out for that announcement. Since we're talking about strategic announcements, let me just quickly take the balance sheet sort of question as well, because debt has increased this quarter. I'm guessing it's maybe because of higher working capital requirements. But what's the trajectory there? Because otherwise, you've been on a trajectory of deleveraging for several quarters now.
No, you're very right. So we took advantage of the government offer to healthcare industries to lend at repo rate. So we've taken about 400 crores at 4.5%, and this has gone towards procuring vaccines. So we procured about 6 million vaccines, and this money has been used for vaccination.
Okay. Can you tell us this cash that you will generate from the slump sale to Apollo Healthco? What is the utilization of that cash? It's somewhere to the tune of around 1,200 crores. What is the plan there?
Clearly to expand our hospital portfolio, and we are looking at some brownfield expansions, which will strengthen our position in the north.
When can we expect this brownfield expansion to come through? And, just another follow-up to what we were talking about earlier about 24/7. You're sitting at 10 million users currently. What is the plan, say, over the next 1 year? How much could the subscriber base grow?
We are looking at 32 million as a subscriber base. And this is mostly because, we already have 32.7 million people within the Apollo network. And the idea is to migrate them onto 24/7.
Okay. Ms. Reddy, just to go back to the previous point on debt, I completely understand that you took advantage of the government scheme and this is for vaccine procurement. But overall, what is going to be the plan on the debt for this year as a whole? Vaccines gave you a significant amount of revenue also, I mean, over 100 crores. So is that going to become a more steady stream over the next few quarters?
The first question about debt, we're at debt to equity of 4.48. We do have cash and cash equivalents of 880 crores, which are there for us to use as we expand our presence. Yes, vaccination is a very important part of what we do. But I think in the first quarter, it really ramped up. And our revenues from vaccination were about 211 crores with a 15% margin. Moving into the second quarter, we do expect that this will come down because the volumes all over India have decreased. Having said that, Apollo has created a vaccination program that will continue, not just for this year, but every year, because we do give pediatric vaccines, adult vaccination program for the flu, which happens every year, and several other vaccinations that we will now create into a separate SPU.
Okay. So, this hospital occupancy, I know we discussed it. I mean, it's been very, very strong in the quarter gone by as well. For new hospitals, the occupancy was at about 73% versus 60% last quarter. Should we expect this to be a peak level, or do you think it can get better in the quarters to come? And finally, if you want to just leave us with some growth trajectory estimates for the next couple of years.
So if you look at, the new hospitals, they are currently at 72%. You're very right in that. Just going forward, we are looking at higher asset utilization. I think the significant thing that happened in COVID was that consumers moved towards category leaders. And this is what we saw. So we believe those patients that came to us during the COVID time will definitely be repeat consumers. And we are looking at maintaining or even going higher in terms of occupancy. When it moves to 80, it's actually peaked, which is why, I think the brownfield expansion is very important. Going into how do we expect to grow, I think that we've shown, in spite of COVID, with COVID, very strong performance in terms of growth. And we hope to keep up this momentum. Growth will be funneled by not just COVID patients, but higher asset utilization. And the fact that we now have 24/7, which is now acting as a funnel into the healthcare system.
Okay. All right, Ms. Reddy, we will leave it on that note for now. Thank you very much for joining in and giving us details on the business and the end of Q1. Well, that is Apollo Hospitals. Stock's been doing well today. The market, by the way, is sort of now down about 0.25% on the Bank Nifty, a little less than that on the Nifty. And in mid-caps, at least at the index level, also slightly subdued. So subdued morning, perhaps you can call it that. We'll take a break on that note. On the other side, we connect with Chintan Thakkar, CFO of InfoEdge, and Ajay Patil, Chief Financial Officer